point this season unless it's for Drew Lock, and Drew Lock's not playing unless he's 100% healthy.
That'd be the sensible approach, I would think. Yeah.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock.
We're not finished yet. I mean, week one's about to start.
We've got 2 games left here, Neil. 10 o'clock kickoff. It's your fault. We went like half an hour on Andrew Luck. 10 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah,
NFL Network, Levi Stadium, LA Chargers, San Francisco 49ers. Neither of our super fans gave us a write-up from NFL.com. Is this the year the Chargers win the division? Was their biggest question heading into the preseason. And the result is the same as usual. They are the paper champions before the preseason begins. Melvin Gordon still holding out. No news on a return. The reports are that he's going to hold out into the season. Derwin James, their phenomenal safety, hurt, will miss a good portion of the season. Is he missing the whole season? Anybody hear a report on that?
No, it's at least 6 games.
Yeah, but it's a metatarsal injury, and I tell you that I've had that before. It's not nice.
Let's put it this way:
easy for him to come back from.
It's long enough that the road for the Chargers is definitely a longer and tougher one. I definitely don't think they're going to be able to compete with the Chiefs in this division.
That is a huge, huge blow. He is a great player.
For the 49ers, NFL.com says the biggest question mark going into the preseason was the 49ers defense. I would agree. It is not their quarterback. Is not the biggest question.
It's a question.
The defense ranked a solid 13th overall, but 28th in scoring last season. San Francisco registered just 2 interceptions, 7 total takeaways, and a dismal takeaway differential of a minus 25. So far in the preseason, they are top 7 in points per game allowed and top 3 in yards per game allowed. So it does look like they at least have some depth on the defensive side of the ball. I think their defense will be improved. And so once Mr. Garoppolo gets nice and comfortable playing quarterback again, coming off that ACL, he's going to do just fine, and the 49ers are going to make the playoffs, as I predicted in the preseason prediction show.
I worry about their offensive line. Sorry, James.
There were too many
history lesson. Sorry, quick history lesson pod. Quarterbacks coming off ACL never have great seasons that first year back. Never. You got to wait for that second season. So chalk this one up as basically an extended training camp for Garoppolo. He's going to look good in moments, but overall, at best, he's going to look average.
Tom Brady
not going to look like the way he was before he got injured.
What you talking about?
He's also got to stay on the field. I mean, the guy's played. I think he's got more seasons under his belt than he has games.
Well, let's put it this way. He was the backup for Tom Brady. He was never going to see the field. He played in 1 game during Brady's suspension. Then he was traded to the 49ers at the middle of the season, didn't get thrown in until the last 5 games of the season. So then he's finished real strong. People had high hopes for the 49ers going into the last season. He played a couple of games and tore his ACL. So,
yep. And in between times became the highest paid quarterback at one point.
Well, he deserved it.
No, he did not deserve it.
He really didn't. Those 2 games he played last year were not pretty.
No.
10 o'clock kickoff at CenturyLink Field in Seattle.
I don't know why you support this Garoppolo guy so much. It's almost like he used to be a New England player.
Monty writes in about Hard Knocks. Those poor Canadians, they probably thought they were getting to see AB for the first half, at least when they plopped down their $200 per ticket, and they got an 80-yard field, 5-pick Peterman and Keelan Doss. How gross. That is so ridiculous what they did to that field up in Canada. First of all, I don't even understand why they moved the goalposts. Who cares if the goalposts were in the middle of the end zone? Actually, I think that would have made it even more exciting. And second of all, Gruden said during the Hard Knocks episode that the field was perfectly fine. Is one little patch where they moved the goalposts that the seam may not have been perfect. You're going to tell me you're going to shorten the field for one little, what is it? Probably like a square foot patch.
And this is what 1 year after. And this is
That's
like
kinda
1
like
year.
a pothole. You're running along and your foot just dips lower than it's supposed to. That could really tear your ankle up.
Yeah.
And
And
it was the Packers who raised a complaint more so than Gruden did. He was just trying to understand what the hell was going on.
But then, James, this is 1 year after the what was it? The Hall of Fame game had to be postponed because the paint
Canceled,
wouldn't
yeah.
dry. I mean, what's the NFL playing at? This is $1 billion organization, and this is the second time some stupid things happened with the field. It smacks of incompetence.
The Canadian side is more understandable than that.
Playing in the new Tottenham Stadium too, so I can't wait until they find out that the field was actually laid down the wrong direction.
That's right.
Oh my gosh!
It's not pointing towards America.
But Neil, the Canadian situation is more acceptable than the preseason game at the Hall of Fame site, because at least at the Hall of Fame site, that's an NFL regulation field. There should never be a reason why a game should be canceled there for any reason, and it's happened twice in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's
Having said that, I'd love to see them play. I love seeing them playing in mud and paint. It'd be great, wouldn't it?
How about real grass? Remember when they used to play on real grass?
Oh, come on, Jay.
Jay, you're talking about 60 years ago.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, they're probably praying to the god of divas that Antonio Brown would have a wardrobe malfunction to draw attention away from that train wreck in Canada. Truly, truly terrible. This should be Exhibit A when the next CBA is being negotiated. If you're trying to push for an 18-game regular season and eliminate the preseason, this is an example of how to make that case. Ridiculous. I think that the show is setting up for next week's cuts. Everyone that we've seen on Hard Knocks, other than AB and Abrams, that is, getting extended camera time, is gone if I were a betting man. Tight end Luke Wilson, Keelan Doss, Jake Cabina, gone. Or I think
Cabina's definitely gone. He did not play well.
Cabina is horrible from what I could see from the TV show. He's not very good. Keelan Doss, though, I don't think Doss is going anywhere. I think he's made that team. Gruden's in love with him.
They'll find a way to keep him, even if it's as a returner.
Although Gruden is renowned for saying, I love this guy, and then cutting him 2 weeks later.
Well, that would be 5-pick Peterman, who Monty says may get a spot on the practice squad. Is he eligible for the practice squad still? Doesn't he have too many seasons accrued? I don't know.
What's your win total then, Jay, for the Raiders in this coming year? Under 6.5.
My preseason prediction for the Raiders was 3-13.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I got the under.
I'd say they win about 6 or 7 games. They can't be worse than last year. I mean, they could, but I just can't see how they would with all the talent they have now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I give them 6 wins.
Monty adds, for me, how awesome would it be for our boy John Abram to light up Reek Hill? I'm talking old school Ronnie Lott, you got jacked up type hit, throw the flags, pay the fine, ejected from the game type hit. The whole world would love to see that piece of garbage get knocked out. Am I right? Knock on wood if you're with me on that too. Knocked on wood, Monty. I'm all in on that happening. And let me tell you, the rookie is the perfect.
Not the least bit bitter, is he?
Yeah, knock on wood if you're tired of this knock on wood thing.
Monty's already mentioned Nick Nelson and Andy Vanderdoes a couple of times during these preseason previews. He really doesn't think Keelan Doss is going to make this team, which I think is rather odd. Can Derek Carr be a franchise quarterback and return to his 2016 form? Didn't answer the question yet, but removed a lot of excuses. Signed a tackle, 3 wide receivers, drafted a running back, slot wide receiver. If Carr doesn't play well this season, Joe Pesci will dig his career a hole in the desert. Except you got to do it right. I mean, you got to have the hole already dug before you show up with a package in the trunk. Otherwise, you're talking about a half hour, 45 minutes of digging, and who knows who's going to come along at that time. Pretty soon, you got to dig a few more holes. You could be there all night.
Monty gets the award for preview of the week. That was terrific.
Justin on the Seahawks says John Ursua looks like the next Doug Baldwin. He's on the small size but tough, makes great catches. He's also had the incredible tackle as the gunner and punt coverage last week. Really? I would think if anyone was going to make any sort of comparison to like a team great. It wouldn't be a fan. We're really already comparing a guy who's possibly going to be a roster cut to Doug Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
Seems a bit of a stretch. Their biggest question, where do we get pass rush? No Frank Clark, Rasheem Green, who was drafted last year, is a non-factor. Did they answer? The answer to that is no. First-round pick C.J. Collier has missed all preseason with injury. Jerron Reed is suspended. Is anyone trying to tackle the quarterback?
Just to be fair to Justin, I'm reading the write-up here now. He doesn't actually say Doug Baldwin. He says Doig Baldwin, who may have been Doug's distant cousin. Who knows?
Oh, sure. All right. Well, I do think that's the biggest question for the Seahawks. I know a lot of people are high on the Seahawks this season.
They're always a well coached, fundamentally sound team, aren't they? Wilson's a great player, so they've always got a chance, I suppose. But I'm interested though, James and Jay. I mean, you guys have watched Hard Knocks with Gruden there. I mean, you guys have this program, The Office, yeah? You know this program, The Office?
Yep.
I've heard of it.
It's that sort of humor that makes you cringe. And I have to say, Gruden he'd be a perfect character for that show, because when he's doing his little talks, his little lectern there, it does make you cringe. It's like stepping back to the 1980s, isn't it? I mean, let's face it. It is totally it's like nobody's listening to you. I'm not listening to you. I heard this in the 1980s. I didn't need to hear it again.
I would say to John Gruden, to quote the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, I've never had to knock on wood. Can't imagine it's good if I did.
Would you like me to insert an inappropriate joke at this point?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. But if you'd like to know what Neil's inappropriate joke is, you have to email us, nextfanup@gmail.com. Tweet us at NFU Podcast. I will not tweet inappropriate jokes from that Twitter account, but you could tweet at Neil, and maybe he'll tweet it.
You certainly will.
And Facebook.com/NFU Podcast. Again, we will not answer the question on our Facebook page. I don't know if Neil wants to give out his personal Facebook address. He can feel free.
No, just use my name; it'll be there. I'm happy to divulge James's inappropriate off-air jokes through my Facebook page anytime.
I'm sorry, what? Me inappropriate? Never.
Hey, don't try and hide it.
We will again have I'm not 100% sure if we'll have a Pigskin Pick'em group and a Eliminator group once again, but if we do, you're going to have to check our social media for all of that. We will be posting that before next week's kickoff begins on Thursday. There's a very special episode coming up on Saturday. It'll be our Saturday morning fantasy football preview special, where we'll have a couple of special guests on that particular program, me and Josh Daly. Josh is our Lions superfan who does our Saturday morning fantasy football shows. We'll be doing that special for you. So you'll have something to tune in on Saturday, because even though we've made this fairly evergreen, I mean, there's a lot of names that you just heard in this episode that are going to get cut and going to end up on other teams, and you'll know that you heard them here first on this particular episode. But we will present you with a fantasy football solution next Saturday. And then, depending on how things roll out, I am planning on having our first preview podcast for the NFL season next Wednesday. Once again, we'll be a day early due to the Thursday night kickoff for the Bears and the Packers. New format, though. We'll only be going through the Pigskin Pick'em every week on this particular episode, and then we'll have Superfan battles in their own show. So you have two shows to be looking forward to at the end of the week every week, where we'll do the preview via the Pigskin Pick'ems and the Power Rankings, and then we'll have the Superfan battles as their own program, and then Saturday morning fantasy football. So 3 shows to preview the entire week of NFL football.
It's very exciting. It's very exciting, Jay, because if nothing else, it's 1 week closer to the draft where my team excels.
Well, there you go. So as I mentioned, there are changes afoot. There are some things that are happening in my own